A lot of language learners face the very common frustration of forgetting what they learned, and they enter in a sort of cyclic problem. They make progress to their course, and at the same time they're afraid of forgetting the very first lessons, and they have to go back and revise regularly. A similar problem is not speaking the language for a few days, a few weeks, or a few months, and having the frustrating feeling that they're back at square one. It's like a spinning plates act, almost. As an answer to this, I think that the question always has to be anchored in reality. You're a person who's busy. You have 2, 3, or 4 hours to dedicate to your French a week. How can you prevent this constant fading away of your knowledge, this feeling of losing a grip on these things you knew? We have to change our view on what it means to know a language. Take as an example a lawyer. A lawyer can't recite the whole law verbatim. They might have been able to during their studies, but even as professionals, they have to look things up. But what they do have is a very informed opinion on what is plausible, and they know where to look for answers. Taking myself as an example, during my studies, I studied tons of things in relation to linguistics, history, and literature. I'm incapable of telling you which tribe lived where and spoke what during the Roman occupation of Britain. There were the Angles, the Jutes, the Saxons. I don't know anymore who lived in Wessex, Sussex, Essex, or Middlesex. But I can quickly find out, and I know what is plausible, even though I don't factually know. When you learn a language, when you learn French, you have to know what is plausible, and you have to know what to worry about, and separate the part you can't win at from the part you can win at. Too many French learners that I see, or just language learners in general, worry about the output, speaking. They want to speak fast and well, and they want to maintain this, and it becomes such an obsession that they even believe that input and output are the same thing. They think that speaking and learning are the same, or that they can do both at once. I speak, therefore I learn. That's what they believe. The fact is, you have to separate your battles, and you have to think about learning in a much different way. You have to separate, and it's coming up on the screen now, what you know about French without necessarily mastering it, what you've never heard about concerning French, what you actively know about French, and what you actively know and can use well. When we start to see French in this way, we start to realize that many learners focus on 1 or 2 battles. They want to maintain what they actively know and can use well, whether it's in a conversation, an app, or in written exercises. Now let me ask you a very wise question. Picture a water well. Which of these 2 people knows the water well best? The one who can comment on the first quarter of the depth of the well and has explored it many times, or the one who's been all the way down to the water and knows how deep it is? I'm not saying this to be wise. I'm saying this because knowing about the existence of something, even imperfectly, has more value than not knowing about it at all. So unless you have an active use for that second language you're learning, which by the way you're learning artificially in an artificial context, which is part of the problem, you will lose on several fronts. It will be very hard to maintain everything, and your learning and your output. Very hard to maintain everything at once. You might learn all the names of the colours in French in the feminine and the masculine, but purely statistically have no use for it for a year or 2. And only then it might only come up once or twice in one conversation for one specific colour. On that day when it does come up, the student who's learned in a self-reflective way will remember the rule behind it and say, oh wait, for certain colours in French you can actually hear the difference between masculine and feminine. Does this apply to the colour white or the colour green? To me as a French teacher, this proves a lot more knowledge than never hearing about this rule at all. My advice is this: accept that you will forget certain parts of French, You will absolutely forget certain parts of French, and accept that you won't be able to recall everything as quickly as you want. But you can win different battles on different fronts. You can explore new parts of French until you've seen the whole well, the whole water well, all the way down to the water. When these skills come up in a real context and you actually do need them, you'll be able to look for a solution. And if you need them time and time again, it will just accelerate naturally. I hope this was useful. My name's Chris from OuiCommunicate. Find me at OuiCommunicate.com. See you very soon.